let's make sure. Okay, volume is up. Hey, Sherry. I know it's a little early. We got a few minutes. And Mary and Chris. Boy, bang, 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 bang. Love it. Look at this. There's a little wave thing going on here. So I can do that. Hey, sweetie. Let's get here. I'm trying to... hello, Elizabeth. And yes, Mary is there. Awesome. All right, we still have a few minutes, so we are probably pretty good yet there. I'm trying to manipulate the camera and what was written in our tarot page as well, so I can get to all of the questions. Hey, Rain. Hey, sweetie. There's a wave feed. Yeah, on my phone. I'm doing this on the Android here, so... yeah, it's there. So it says there anyway. On my iPad, it doesn't show that. But here on the Android, it does. So it's good to see so many people already. I can see a lot of people. We still have like another 3 minutes or so. According to this, I just want to bring up all of the questions that people wrote. And I hope you all have questions as well. Alrighty. I think today is going to be just a little bit different, which is kind of neat. You know, it's odd. It keeps telling me that the people that I know are on, it keeps bringing them back on again and again and again and again and again. So that's kind of odd here. So I'm looking at that. So get your questions ready. I'd love to hear what everybody has today. You know, hi, Dinah. And we have Diane. It's good to see. And Jermaine, hey, sweetie. And Tony is on. Oh, good. I'm glad you made it, Tony. You had said you might not. And Shireen is on. Very cool. Alrighty. So I just want to make sure I got my cards here and jot down a couple of things. I got some notes here to see what everybody is about. Have you seen how many people are in our divination forum? Is that like crazy? And it's a private forum, so I'm really proud of everybody out there. Okay, we got like a minute to go. So I'm getting my cards ready and see what we've got. And Danny is on. Wow. I mean, it just keeps over and over and over again. It's showing there. So, all right. I guess we can get started. It says like I have a minute to go. But it's good to see everybody. For anybody who doesn't know, I'm Bernadette. And we do this show every Monday. It's funny, I've been getting a lot of questions about the show this week. So what is it about that is making it so popular? And what is it about the divination form that's been getting so popular, you know? And to be honest with you, I think it's the idea that everybody kind of gets together without... it's not a competitive type of forum. I didn't want that. And the idea that everybody can get together and share ideas. I mean, I'm a reader. I do professionally, but I welcome other readers to give their input too. And I would love to see much, much more about that. Yay, Sherry. So to me, it's a big thing. For anybody who really knows me, they know that that's what I'm about anyway. When I do my festival, it's about getting many different stores together and helping promote everybody's businesses, because together you're strong. And that is a big thing. At least that's my my take on everybody. I know that that's not the case with everybody. Hi, Maggie. I haven't seen you in forever. So it's maybe that's what sets it apart. I'm not quite sure. We haven't had any drama or issues, you know, in the forum itself, which really shows, you know, that there are a lot of good people out there, and that's important to me, you know. So Hello, Heather. The idea is that everybody gets together, shares ideas with everybody, and nobody is, my way or the highway. It just doesn't work right there. Hello, Brooke. It's good to see a lot here. Those numbers are going up, which is really kind of nice. So that was one of the things I wanted to touch on, because I get a lot of messages after the fact, when everything is over on the forum. I get a lot of messages. Thank you, Chris. Chris writes, I'm so looking forward to the next psychic fair in Beltane. That's wonderful. It's really nice to see everybody get together and really share ideas. And I'm looking at the forum right now. The fact that so many people also posting pictures of their readings and their unique decks. Mary, keep doing. Hi, sweetie. Hi, Iris. Mary, keep posting those wonderful books and those wonderful tarot decks that you keep doing. It's absolutely wonderful. I really adore that. So let's go into a couple of things here. And most people know that I have my own shop, Breed's Closet. It's a metaphysical shop, of which, hi, Michelle, I do a lot of this work, and I pretty much eat and breathe and live this this type of, spirituality. It's a constant thing, right? So what people come to me and ask in regards to the tarot is tarot an evil thing to do? And I'm really not making fun of this. A lot of people are told not to touch the tarot. A lot of people are told not to touch divination, yada, yada, yada. And I'm sure many people out there, and please chime in with this if you've had to deal with this. Alrighty. And I know there's a lot of good readers that I see out there, so you probably have. I've literally had people come in and say, hi, Rose, this is you can't do this. Divination is from the devil. And hi, Maria, and you shouldn't be doing this, or especially the tarot. Alrighty. So I am not trying to put any one person down, okay? But the tarot didn't exist when the Bible was written. It didn't. In my experience, hello, Gil. In my experience and in my research, the tarot pretty much originated in Italy, and it's based on a deck or a game, a bridge type game called Tarocchi. Alrighty. So I am not an expert in bridge. I am not an expert in that game at all. Alrighty. But from my research, a lot of people say no, it's more Egyptian, and I've seen all sorts of things. Hello, Melissa. I've seen all sorts of things on this. But it is, in my opinion, that it is based on an Italian game called Tarocchi in Italy, and we're talking about the 1400s. So the word tarot had to have been added way after the fact. The tarot did not exist to the 1400s, alrighty? So it's something to think about. Now, the Rider-Waite deck is very different compared to what that early deck looked like, alrighty? So I'm picking up the Rider-Waite for a reason, alrighty? Because the earliest tarot decks were based on playing cards, and then had 21 cards added in, which each card had a meaning to it, alrighty? And I'm not going to go into the whole history of everything, alrighty? But it was added to the standard 4 suits, and really making a long story short, we have our tarot deck, our decks today. Now, when that deck came into being, the pip cards, or the minor cards, minor arcana, like right here is the 9 of Cups. There's a story to be seen on this deck. All right, you see that. So you can come out, you see the man sitting here, and he's holding on to things, and he's barefoot, and he's surrounded by all these cups, which are kind of like trophies and stuff. Hi, David. Alrighty, so you can see all of this and the colors. What do the colors mean to you? The earliest decks did not have that. The earliest decks only had the cups. So you had to come up with the meaning based on what cups means to you, maybe what the color of those cups meant. But there isn't a whole story where in this particular deck, there is a story to be told here, right? So pretty much you see this man standing behind, or sitting, holding on to something, and it seems to be surrounded by all of these cups. And, you know, in a way, he almost looks a little stingy. You know, hello, Diane. And he wants to hold on to all of his trophies. Now, there's no question. I haven't answered the question. I'm just describing the card and, you know, what it looks to me. And blue to me is like an emotional thing. It's like the color of water. And yellow to me is a very successful card. Sometimes yellow bothers me. It's not a color that I particularly like. And then you can see that the trophies or the cups are yellow and all that. So, and now his face is all red. Alrighty. So you have to decide what that means to you. Hey, Elizabeth, what would that mean? What does the color yellow mean to you? It bothers me. Color yellow is irritating to me. It's not calming to me. I know that there are many different shades of yellow, but with tarot, you don't overanalyze things. With tarot, you look at it and allow your feelings and emotions to come through. Hey, sweetie. So when I look at this card, it actually bothers me with all that yellow. And then the red looks like, you know, he's a bit upset. Oh, thank you, Pamela. And please, if anybody does disagree with me, I won't take offense to that. I would like to hear your feedback on that to teach us all. This is my take on this, okay? So with that in mind, like I said, the earliest decks did not have that. You would just see the cups, but it wasn't until the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, Pamela Smith, meaning the artist who did this, and finally getting credit for what all her work is here. It kind of has a different meaning to me in this deck than, let's say, the Tarot de Marseille. I'm sure I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, but those earliest decks like the Visconti decks and all that, they have I can read them. Hello, Michael. I can read them, but I get so much more information when I read what I consider the modern deck. And the modern deck is anything from the Rider-Waite-Smith deck on, okay? Because they all now, it all set the standards for having these stories or this imagery on the minor arcana cards or the pip cards. So, you know, what does that symbolism mean to you? What is the color? What do the colors mean to you? Now, you've heard me mention this before. The color red, which I see in his face, okay, it might mean anger to a person, or it might mean passion to someone else, depending on the question asked. And love you too, Michael. You know what I mean? What is that color? What does the imagery mean to you? Alrighty, and like I said, I'm using the Rider-Waite because the imagery is so rich in here. So what would that mean to you? So let's pull another card. Oh, I actually teach with this card a lot, Fancy. The Eight of Swords. Alrighty. So now, what does the color red on her gown stand for? Alrighty. So let's discuss. If you have a problem with tarot, you know, and understanding what it means, what I tell my clients is to describe it to me. What do you see there? So I see a woman who's blindfolded, and she has this wrapping all around her, okay? And she looks like she's bound. And let me move up here a little bit. So she is 1 foot in water and 1 foot on the land. And you can see that the water is blue. You can see that there are swords all around her, but there's no swords in front of her. Alrighty. So think about what that means, okay? Because to me, that's very telling. So she has swords around her, but not in front of her. Her emotion, or I should say her foot is standing in water, which indicates, emotions. And you can see a little castle or something behind her. Alrighty, so now Chris writes, I take it as the yellow is the sun, the red is the exertion to get to that comfort level. He is sitting because he is comfortable for the moment. Very good. Excellent, excellent, excellent. But now, here's something different. Hello, Tom. What does that card mean to you based on the symbolism? So when a client literally describes it to me, when they do that, I say, well, what's the feeling? What do you get from that card? What emotions do you get that card? So challenge to all of you. What card, what kind of feelings does it elicit from you? Hey, Renee, what does this mean to you? What does this card, does it make you feel happy? Does it make you feel sad? Are you uncomfortable with this card? Tell me why. And that's just, I'm trying to do a little interactive exercise with everybody. Dread. Okay, great. So you feel dread. Got you. Alrighty. Anybody else? Because I'll touch on all of the different, trapped by her own thoughts and feelings. Fantastic. So we got 2 there. Because I'll get a bunch of them. And I'm going to give you my opinion on that card. And then I would love to have other readers like Renee, Mary reads, Sherry reads. We have some really nice readers here. I want to know what that means to you. So I'm going to, okay, so Chris writes, I feel like I'm trapping myself in perhaps a situation I went into blindly. Very good. Excellent. All righty. Now look how personal tarot can be. All right. I want you to really think about this. All right. Come on. There's more people out there. There's a lot more people out there. Just give me a 1 or 2 word feeling. What does this make you feel? Is it dread? Is it sadness? Is it happiness? Is it ambivalence? Let me know what that means. All right. Because remember, I'm going to learn from this as well. So dread, Mary writes. Renee writes, trapped by her own feelings. Mary also writes, self-restraint when we can change it but do not realize it yet. We are in and out of control. Jermaine writes, feeling blinded and swords represents a cage. This is great. So you can see that there's a similarity here, whether or not you know what this is about. Okay, so Michael, my cousin, writes, frustrated, swords in the stone. Actually, Michael, that's actually very good. All righty. So if we look at this, and I'm just going to give you my example because, I teach this a lot. So she is bound. Yes, trapped is exactly it. She feels trapped. She feels blinded. She has all these swords all around her. All righty. Tracy writes, helpless. But is she really? Yeah, think about what I'm saying here. Is she really? Alrighty. Feelings of entrapment and sadness. That's right, Shireen. Now, the reason why I'm throwing that out is since there's no swords in front of her, and if that were you or me and we felt bound like she is, what if you wiggled up against a sword and cut yourself out of it? You could get hurt by it, but nonetheless, you'd be freeing yourself of those claws, the things that bind you. Alrighty. And then you're able to take right. Her bonds are easily broke. Tracy, maybe it's easy and maybe it's not. Maybe you'll still get hurt in the midst of getting yourself out of what binds you. Okay. So you get what I'm talking about. And if she takes those, even if she cuts herself, right? You know what I mean? Deep emotional issues, risk factor is inevitable. Yes. So if she were to cut herself out, take off the blindfold, even if she's bleeding because she cut herself and then she's crying and all that other stuff, The idea is that she took off the liberations pending. Yes. So that makes sense. So you cut away from those things that bind you. And now it's an emotional thing because her foot was in the water. Remember that? Alrighty. And now she's able to walk away from those swords. A bad day, yes. So even if you're hurt, you can walk away from a situation. So sometimes I use that particular card I'll use it as an example. So if you know of somebody, hello, Diane, 2 Dianes there. If you know somebody that, right, if you look closely, the wrappings are not very secure. So my thought with this card is, and it's just maybe a slightly crass example, but do you ever see somebody who dates the same type of asshole over and over again? I want you to think about that. The same type of person, maybe the same personality traits, the same issues, and sometimes even looks. But it's good to see you, Diane. That as a friend, you look at them and you're going, you're just making the same mistake all over again. So there is this concept, and it's probably more psychological than anything, where people, and I would say women are more guilty of it. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just talking about in my years of doing this. Women are more guilty of it. Self-imposed prison. Yes. So you date the same fool over and over and over again. And the reason why is that they know how to deal with a person with those personality traits. It sounds crazy, doesn't it? Like, why would you, if you were dating and asked before, and you date somebody new, and now you realize that they're just the same person in different wrapping. And it's because people are they're comfortable, sometimes even in their own misery, because something new is scary, and they already know how to deal with this type of personality traits. So you'll see that with people who are in abusive relationships, whether it's emotional or whether it's physical. Now I bet when you see this card, you can see the lesson, because the idea is to break yourself of those binds. And the reason why I use relationships as an example is because you could see the blue water and her foot in the water. So she needs to break away from those things that bind her. Sometimes it's low self-esteem, it's ego, it's that sort of thing. So think about what that would mean, So I got all that information out of one card, and that's the reason why I prefer the more modern decks and the symbolism in here. And let's talk about that symbolism. So she has a red gown. So is red passion or is it anger? To me, I think it's a bit of anger. Familiarity is comfortable. Change is not. Correct. Now, Renee, you totally get where I'm coming from on this. Alrighty. So you get the red, and the sky is gray. So gray is a neutral color, isn't it? So everybody, I always forget the water in that card. Yeah, because it's so small. It's so small. So that's a really, 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 really heavy duty card. Alrighty. And a card that could it really imparts a lot of emotions and a lot of feeling in that card. And it's an unbelievable lesson. So there's another card that I wanted to talk to you about when it comes to symbolism. Of course, I'm going to be, it'll probably be one of the last cards I get. So let me just pull this out. Hi, Julia. Good to see you. And Autumn Lorraine is there. We have some wonderful readers. Chris writes, she's angry that she put herself in that position of, I got it. Because it's entrapment. The water is her only comfort. Now, Chris, I'm going to throw that out you. Why would the water be comfort? I'm not disputing you at all, but I want to get the interactive aspect here. I'm looking to see what everybody writes. So why is the water comfortable? All right. So Chris, when you get a second, write that. The next card that I wanted to touch on, again, because of colors and symbolism, is this one. It is the 10 of Swords. So the swords seem to invoke. Oh, my wife is annoyed because I don't read the cards. Hi, Doreen. I get that. Look at this card. And Michelle is on. Hi, sweetie. Take a look at this. So I want you to really take a close look at this. We see tens. We see a 10 of Swords. And we see the swords piercing this gentleman's back. And we see a red cloak around him. Alrighty. We see all the swords. They're kind of blue, which makes me think of emotions. You see the water, which is blue with a little bit of red. So it's, I don't know if that is reflective or there's actual blood in there. I'm not sure. I want you to look at the yellow in the sun. Alrighty. Take a look. Oh, yep, my husband's on. I can see all the hearts. You could see that the sun is right there. And then we see the blackness of the night. So, challenge to you. Is the darkness overcoming the sunlight? Or is the sunlight overcoming the darkness? Okay? Think about that, alrighty? Because I think I'm going to touch on some things that most people miss in this card, alrighty? Now, look at his posturing and you see his hand. Can you see the hand gesture? Alrighty? And I want you to also notice that there is no active blood, even though he is being stabbed multiple times. Is the darkness overcoming the sunlight, or is the sunlight overcoming the darkness? Rose, if you're still out there, I'd love to hear what you have to say about that. Or is that blood flowing from him? Okay, Renee, let's look at this. Where is there I see water, I see red in the water, but wouldn't that be kind of in the distance? Okay. So, I mean, I'm not disputing you. It could be a number of things. But that hand symbol, if you look at it, you've seen it in religious iconography. Oh wow, I said that word without stumbling over it. Usually means blessings, forgiveness. When I was a kid, I always thought of it as a superiority thing. You know what I mean? But why does he have his hand in that position? So I really want you to look closely at the brilliance of Pamela Smith's artwork. As simple as it is, there is so much detail. Hi, Mike. The darkness is overcoming the light. Okay, we have Shireen, and that's how she looks at it. Rose, if you are up to it, what's your take on this card? Alrighty. Because Rose is a wonderful, wonderful reader. She used to have a shop in Sugarloaf, which was my go-to place. And she reads and has a booth, a beautiful booth, and does amazing jewelry over at the Ren Fair. But she also does stuff online. So actually... okay, let's see here. I take the red in the water as the sun rising. This is Chris Lopez. I take it as the worst is over and that the backstabbing or issues are over. He's counting his blessings that the ordeal is over. Great. And what you said, it looks like blood to me. Okay, that's fine, Renee. I'm going to look at it. Forgiveness would fit with a rising sun. He has been betrayed, but has forgiven his enemies and will rise again. Okay, great. This is what I'm looking for because other readers have different takes on it. So, Renee, I'm going to tell you like my take on it, and I'm going to bring it real close. To me, this looks like a red cloak. This is my take on it. Alrighty. And because I don't see active blood on him, someone is dead. No. Yep, possibly. But there's more to it. What would happen? Let me go back because I don't want to jump ahead. Again, is the sunlight overcoming the darkness, or is the darkness overcoming the light? So if you wanted to see some positive results from this card, then the gentleman would need to have, right, could be surviving something horrible. Yes, Mary. So you would take the swords one at a time and deal with those issues one at a time. The fact that this is my take, okay? The fact that I don't see active blood here means it's something that may have happened a long time ago. And you know the phrase, somebody's stabbing you in the back, but you hold on to it, okay? So this is just my take. The fact that the card is in the 10th position indicates the end of the sword's journey. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. This is what I'm looking for. Hello, Sophia. I see some new names here. So to me, if you take out the swords one at a time, and I look at swords as the ability to cut through the BS, to deal with problems, you know, the long arm of the, I'm trying to let my calm down my New York accent here. The swords, you know, if you're, like, I'm a pretty aggressive person, so if a sword is in my hand, I'm going to cut through the BS. I'm going to cut through any sort of bullshit that's coming my way. I'm not a very passive person. So, hi, Lisa. And with that in mind, if you take the swords out and each sword represents a problem or an issue that needs to be cut away, then one at a time you could deal with those problems and those swords are alleviated, which would leave you the ability, or you would see the sunlight overcoming the darkness. Now, if you see it as the darkness overcoming the sunlight, then those swords stay, and those problems and issues are still stabbing you in the back and still taking up way too much real estate in your heart, alrighty? Like pins on a poppet, yes. So, yet his hand is in that position, which could mean forgiveness or blessings, right? That sort of thing. So it's almost like if he were to forgive, what would happen? Is he going to stay flat on his face with the swords in his back? Hi, Shell. It's good to see so many people here. So what is he going to do? Is he going to stay laying down, face down? Or is he going to take the swords out of his back and rise? Now, the reason why I'm focused on this is what I've learned here is something actually that Judika taught me. Judika Isles. Forgive me, Judika, if you watch this later on. I always mispronounce your last name. I'm very, very sorry about that. But she's the one that taught me, because she was doing a reading for me, that she calls this the resurrection card. So you have possibilities to rise. And it's not so unlike the card we had before. Because the opportunity here is to get out of those things that bind you. So you can rub up against the swords, cut through those binds, even if it hurts a little bit, and walk away. Not so much like this, but this one's a bit more heavy duty, because this person literally has to pull each sword out of his back, where here she just needs to break away. But you see the red and the orange in her gown, and the red and the orange in that cloth that you see wrapping around him. So, you know, that says a lot. And it's a heavy. I picked out some pretty heavy cards, because there's some big lessons here, because these two cards come out a lot for the clients that I have. And when I show them these and I explain it, people are pretty much blown away, because they had no idea. Hello, Elena. And Michael Harris is there, and Heather Hopkins. So you get what I'm trying to say here, and people have no idea how in-depth or how deep the tarot can be. And it has to do with symbolism. So what does the sword mean to you? What does the red color mean to you? What about the white in his sleeve? Because he's asking for forgiveness or blessings, and the sleeve is white. So white is usually a symbol of purity, right? Or purity of thought. There's no such thing as pure anything. But you get where I'm coming from on there. So the colors are black, yellow, red, blue, and kind of a sandy orange color. So what does that mean to you? How do you interpret this card? So it's not so easy, but for all of you new people, what I would suggest is, one card a day, keep a journal, and describe the card to yourself. Well, this card, let me draw out a card randomly. Okay, I just drew this one. All right, so this is cups. So this is I'm looking at it backwards. So 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is the 8 of cups. All right. So when you set up your journal and you're writing in your journal, you see that he has a red cloak again. So that's an emotional thing. Is it passion? Is it anger? You see the mountains in the foreground. You see the blue water. You see the moon. Alrighty. I want you to look at all the colors. You see the yellow cups. And he's walking away. He's walking away from the situation. Alrighty. In his face is the dirt, is earth, it's sand. He will get back up. Yes. Okay, we're going back to the other. Yes, because remember, all cards have possibilities, don't they? Alrighty. So let's look at this card. What does this mean to you? He's walking away from those cups. What is going on with him? What does that mean? So when you set up your journal and you start writing these, again, for the new people, describe it. If I were to sit in front of you and I'm going, hey, here's a new card, what does it mean to you? Well, I don't know what it means. All right? You don't know what it means? Tell me what those colors are and what's happening in the card. He's walking away from all these cups. Looks like he's climbing a little bit, and he's got a walking stick with him. Very interesting. If you have the commemorative deck, her original colors are slightly different. Yes, they are. And thank you, Tracy. I had forgotten about that, and I got to get because I have a personal copy of that, and I got to bring it into the store, and maybe we can compare. Or Tracy, I'll bring you on, and we can go side by side with the two different decks. So that if you're up to it, Tracy, I'd like to be able to do that. Maybe we could do that next week. So describe it. If you have a piece of paper in front of you, tell me what you see. When people get confused about a card, I tell them to describe it. And once they describe it, it comes together. They go, oh, I get that. Oh, describe what's going on in the card. What is the story? But when somebody describes it to me, I see the story happening. And I'll tell a client, you just read your first card. Oh, I don't understand it. Yes, you do. Because he's walking away from those cups. Cups has to do with emotions. I'll tell them that. So something he's walking away from. And then you have to look at what the question is. Was it advice from the day? Or is this person dealing with an emotional issue? Now remember, emotions don't necessarily have to mean love, 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 love. It could be anger. It could be, all sorts of, we have lots of emotions, and, we can flip-flop from love to anger in 2 seconds, alrighty? Chris writes, I take it that he's leaving the comfort of his surrounds, friends and family. The walking stick is helping him keep his strength to continue to leave his surroundings. Excellent. That's an excellent description. Emotional breaking free or apart. Pretty in depth, right? Pretty in depth. Not bad for a starter's deck. Everybody calls the Rider-Waite the starter deck, and I hate that because there's a lot of symbolism in here. I'm trying to get the camera to focus in a little bit better. So that's how you work. He's walking away from the water onto solid ground. That's right. That's the point of looking into every card or every deck that you have and look at all those little nuances. Sometimes it's just a little something. Like I said with the card before, he had his hands in a position like this, which means blessing and forgiving. So maybe the advice is to forgive what is happening. You know what I mean? You know that saying, forgive but never forget? All right. You want to forgive a person for their bad behaviors, and sometimes that person is yourself, but you have to remember it so that you don't repeat that behavior again. And a lot of people will go, oh, that's BS or something like that, but that's not true. If you go BS, whatever, then there's an ego issue that is going on. We all mess up, we all make mistakes, and then you got to work with that. So that is these are some pretty heavy duty cards here. So when you look for a card, obviously it's the artwork that has to work for you, but it's the symbolism that is everything. I probably own 40 or 50 decks because I love to collect them. I love the artwork. And I suppose I can read every single deck that is out there, but there are those that I absolutely love and adore. There are some decks, though, that don't work for me, even though they're insanely popular. So I'm actually going to go into a conversation that I had with the lovely Sherry Cook today. Alrighty. So hello, Victoria. So Sherry, I know you're there. So I'm putting you on the spot here. About decks. Alrighty. Because in our tarot and divination forum, we have what is called a mentorship. So people can get together to help one another. The Swiss tarot is freaky. Oh, Mary, do you have a copy of that with you so you can show us? Because I'll bring you on. I'd love to see it because I'm not familiar with that one. But anyway, I was talking to Sherry today, and she's mentoring somebody. And we were discussing how to do that. And there's a couple of things. Number one, I want to touch on this. What about the burning castle? So, gee, Tommy, are you talking about the tower card? Because I think that's what you are alluding to. So, Tommy, if it's the tower card, we could bring that out. We have this concept called mentorship in the forum, and I'm pointing at my computer like you can see it. And the idea is that somebody who knows the tarot or who wants to further their education in the tarot can do that by mentoring someone else. And what I mean by that is if somebody comes to me, the tarot, I'll bring that out, Tommy. If somebody wants to learn more about their craft, well, the way to do that is to work with somebody who is new to the tarot, has lots of questions, because I love it when I'm stumped about something. I know that sounds crazy. But I love it when I'm stumped because I'm going to go, oh, let me look that up. And that's exciting to me because I've been doing this for so long. Sometimes you kind of get stalemated, you know? So I'll go to maybe a different deck to provoke more energy into reading a card. I like to really push the envelope. Great reading needs to... Oh, okay. All right, Dinah. So with that in mind, I like to be challenged, and I absolutely adore that. So anyway, that's why I thought that mentorship on the Tarot and Divination Forum would be really, really good. But I'm going to put one thing in here. Make sure that if you decide to do the mentorship in the Tarot Forum, that it stays within the theme of the group. Alrighty, and that means tarot and divination. We are not promoting one religion or another. Not everybody here is a pagan or a heathen or a strega and all that other stuff, because I'm getting some feedback that people are getting asked to do more than the tarot. And I'm going to ask, in order to stay within the theme, alrighty, that when you mentor somebody, and it's certainly up to you. Mary, forgive me. Mary writes, switched from the Robin Wood deck to Buckland's Gypsy deck now. That's awesome. So, and that's Raymond Buckland for anybody who doesn't know. Let's keep the mentorship to the tarot, and not just the tarot, runes and tea leaves and coffee. The mentorship is meant to do that because there were so many different religions and ways of doing things here that I'm trying to keep the religious aspect out for now. People are asking me to do more. I may have other forums and other things happening now. I'm building my online presence a bit more these days because I think that's just the way you have to be, at this point. So Sherry, I thank you for that. And Sherry brought in or showed me a picture of a deck that does not resonate with me. Alrighty. But that doesn't mean it's a bad deck. I happen to think it's probably one of the most popular decks that's out there, and that's the Deviant Moon. Okay. I think it's beautiful, and I love the coloring and the symbolism and everything, but it doesn't seem to work with me. And I know people that swear up and down by that deck, and I'm happy. It's great. You go by what works for you. But she showed me that deck or a picture of that deck, and it didn't quite work for me. Others do, but other people may not like the Rider-Waite or the Sacred Rose or the Sacred Circle. Those are my decks and my go-to. Then there's also the Salvatore Dali deck. It's very abstract like the Deviant Moon, but the Dali deck seems to speak to me because I think Dali just pretty much lived in his subconscious. So when the artwork came out into a card, it seemed to work because I have a tendency to really analyze. I'll pick a card and then just tear it apart. So let me go to the next card because I have a couple of things that people wrote here that I want to make sure I touch on. And by the way, do any of you have an affinity for a certain card in your deck? And if you do, tell me why. So, yeah, we're getting into a lot of things here. So, Tommy asked me to bring this up. That's the Tower. All right, there's a lot of Kabbalistic inference here. I think you can all see that. So we see two people. The colors are blue and then blue and red. We see flames coming out of the tower. All righty. I see clouds, so that it must be high up. There's clouds all over the place. And we see the crown. Again, let me move this down so the card comes in clearer. We see the lightning bolt hitting that crown. Maybe if I go closer. I'm so sorry that it's not coming in as clear as I'd like. Oh, there it goes. So you see the crown is falling. And we see these little, it's not water drops or anything. The yellow, it's called Yud in Hebrew. So there's a lot of Kabbalistic inference in this deck. Now, we see blue, we see red, we see black, we see white clouds. The tower is gray. That's pretty significant, to be honest with you. Alrighty. Yeah, the victims of 9/11, absolutely. I actually, here's a funny, see if you can relate to this, but I had taken an online course with Raymond Gramasi many years ago, and that's when he still lived in California. And he had an online course in Strega that I had taken, and I had to do a kind of like a book report, if you want to call it that, on the Tower card. And so the first thing I thought of, Mary, was 9/11, because it happened right after 9/11 when I had to do that homework. Alrighty, so it was pretty deep. Alrighty, so anyway, we see all those colors. Alrighty, so what's your take on the Tower card? Pretty heavy duty. So I'm looking at this, and the lightning bolt is hitting the top of that tower or castle, and the crown is falling. The crown is like exploded. The lightning bolt hit it and knocked that crown off of the tower. So my take on this is somebody's ego is really bruised here. That lightning bolt comes down from God, from the source creator, and hits the top of that tower. All right, what is that tower? Is it what you own? Is it your home? Is it, hi Wayne? What does that tower mean to you? To me, it represents ego. And, you just got slapped in the face with that lightning bolt coming down. Now, the Kabbalistic inference is that lightning bolt, there's a concept called the lightning flash or the lightning bolt in the Kabbalah in regards to the tree of life. So that lightning bolt is coming down from the crown, which is God in the Kabbalah, all right? Again, just my take on this card, as obviously you can see that I've really studied this. But note that the tower is gray, and gray is a very neutral color. It's the big kaboom of a situation blowing up in our lives. Yes. And Shireen, it could be your ego. It could be something that was life-changing, and we've all had that, right? We've all had that. It is. And the idea, though, is what are you going to do about it? Alrighty. What are you going to do now that life presented you with that tower card? So you fall down, but when you fall down, where do you go from there? So if you properly understand lessons that the tower was giving, you notice I didn't say fortune telling, then when you hit bottom, the only place you can go is up. Does that make sense? So while this is a pretty heart-wrenching card for many, there's also a bit of justice involved with that, isn't there? So if the tower has presented itself to you, why? What happened? And if you feel that it was out of your control, well, now you got to figure out why you feel that way. So the tower is right. That's what Sherry writes, right back up. And you have to. Alrighty. Now, the funny thing is I'm not going to say that everybody can do that. Sometimes you need to take a break before you come back up. And remember, I'm only reading one card. We don't have any other cards to go along with it. But when you write this in your journals, pay attention to the colors, because the tower is neutral, which means that judgment that came down from above, but the foundation remains intact, so it leaves room for excellent, Victoria. Excellent, excellent. I love that. So you get where I'm coming from. It is solid. It's fallen down, and you are able to. I've fallen down. Now I got to get back up. Okay. I'm being silly. Don't pay attention. But you get the idea. Alrighty. So that's the idea of making tarot work for you. So do you see? Yes, I take comfort that the next card is the star. Yeah, and it's almost like you've hit rock bottom, and you look up and you see that star and you see the hope. Also to me, the star can be illuminating. It is the sun is a star. But I agree. I was thinking that your subconscious is telling you major changes are coming. Oh, that's awesome. Chris, that is really awesome. So, again, I'm having a hot flash. This is my take on the tower card, because I don't shy away from this at all. Alrighty, but that tells me a lot about a situation, whether it's going on in my life or it's with my client's life. What is that? And what will you do with that? All right, so you get that. Boy, I think we could spend a whole episode here just talking about this one particular card. All right, and its relationship to the tree of life. So that's a big thing. Actually, I have a question for all of you. Does anybody here study the Kabbalah or understand Kabbalistic reference or maybe some symbolism? The reason why I ask is if you do, I can also touch on that in regards to the show. So that'll be another element that I can add in. I know that the Kabbalah was not a part of tarot in the beginning, and there were those purists that will not combine the two. I do, and it's because, awesome, Victoria. I do because I believe that anything that you can use as a tool to help better your life or the lives of others, I will use it. Okay, so that's my take on it. I know that may not work for everybody, but I wanted to bring that up because if you're interested would you like me to touch on the Kabbalah and the tarot down the line? I would love a yes or a no from people. If you're all for it, we could do that. If not, we don't have to. But that's one of the things that I wanted to. So let me see. Come on. Let me see yes or no. So Victoria says she works with that. Okay. Here's the next question that I wanted to touch on. And I want you to think about this. The question is, why do you think so many people associate the tarot or divination? Good, everybody going all the yeses here. Why do you think so many people associate tarot with religious practice? Think about that. It would be interesting. Now, Mary, I only can give you concepts. Alrighty, I am not a master Kabbalist. Alrighty. Yes, it's all about, oh, awesome, Victoria. I'm not a Kabbalist, but I study the Kabbalah. It's one of my loves. And boy, do I have stories. But it is a love of mine. But let's go back to the question that posed, because we're almost at the end of this. So why do so many people associate tarot or divination as a religious practice? And yes, for the Kabbalah. Yes. And why are such things considered taboo? Alrighty. So at the very beginning of the show, I mentioned that the tarot did not exist when the Bible was written. Okay. And it was put in after the King James version of the Bible. Remember, there are many different versions of the Bible that is out there. Okay. That's just the facts. All right. We're not going in as to who's right, who's wrong. I don't want to do that. But why was that added in? All right. And that was, like I said, added in much later after the Bible was written. So I had people coming in say that you can't do the tarot. Tarot is forbidden. And I'm like, I'm not understanding that, because King James added that in. It didn't exist at the time of Jesus or when the Bible was written. So it doesn't fit. So you can add that on. Now, people will go, well, you're not supposed to tell the future. Well, again, this is me. I don't tell people their future. I do not, because that's taken away their free will. What I do is give them advice. Ritual is familiar, but is not attached to God. I gotcha. I give advice for the future. This is my take on the tarot. The cards open up something in my subconscious, so I look at this and then the information comes out. And there are many other fine readers that I see right here who I know kind of have a similar take on things. The tarot kind of touches or reaches into the subconscious, and I'm able to put the stories together, and then I give advice to people, because they could walk out this door, in 5 minutes, and situations have totally changed. You know what I mean? Thank you, Victoria. So that's how I look at it. I use it as a tool to help somebody with something that may be coming on in the future. So that's very confusing to some people in regards to the tarot, because they may have never understood the tarot that way, but that's probably more of the Hollywood version of what people say tarot is about. So tarot is not a religious practice at all. Not at all. I know Catholics that read the tarot. I know Christians that read the tarot. I know people of many different religions that read the tarot, but it's not a part of their religion. It's a part of their daily spiritual practice. So yes, you can be a witch, and I am a witch, who doesn't do the tarot. It's not required. It's not a magical practice. Especially the Rider-Waite has a lot of Judeo-Christian symbology in here. As you can see, actually, there's the Kabbalistic tree of life right behind the high priestess here. Alrighty. So you get where I'm coming from here. It is not a religious practice. It is a spiritual practice. And if you're atheist, you can read the tarot. Alrighty. Because if you believe that it's your subconscious coming out and giving you the messages, as opposed to, that's fine. That's what works for you. So I wanted to kind of clear that up, because a lot of people in the store have come to me, and then when they walk out, one person actually came in with a Bible and said, "Thou shalt not," and "Thou shalt," and I said, "Yeah, okay, that's fine," but a man put that in there because it didn't. Right, the church doesn't differentiate between spirituality and religion, and I'm not trying to blast anything. I'm just giving the facts, and I would love it if you proved me wrong. All right, it would be fantastic because again, I can learn. But the tower didn't exist when the Bible was written, so that always messes with people's heads when they come in here. So with that in mind, now hear me on this one. Why are other forms of cards acceptable? So in other words, angel cards. People are afraid of tarot, but angel cards, or maybe animal cards or something. Why is that okay? But a typical tarot deck is not acceptable. I would love your hi Marilyn, it's good to see you. I'd like to know why people differentiate. To me, a card is a card is a card. Scripture also says anything is permissible but not beneficial. Thank you, Sherry. That's pretty awesome, actually. A card is a card is a card. I have so many different decks around here. I have this, why is one more acceptable than the other? Is it the symbology? Because again, the Rider-Waite deck has a lot of Judeo-Christian aspects. Why is that? I really want to challenge you to think about why that seems to be a problem. And a lot of people have had those issues. To me, one deck is as good as the other. It all is a matter of what works for you or what gives you the information that it's a vibration level. That's good. That is good. I actually like that. So, what works for you? Some people will divine looking at the clouds. Some people will divine by looking at flames, but that's okay. But a deck of cards is not. Angels are messengers of God. God created. Yes, other cards appear. Right. They don't understand what the devil card is and what that's all about. And it seems to be scared. But that's the information I'd like to hear. Hi, Crystal. I'd like to hear why you think. You know what I mean? Now, where I'm at, I get challenged. The hardliners anyway, yes. I get challenged and I just give them the information as I'm giving you. And hi, Anthony. Anthony is somebody I've known since I was like 11, I think, something like that. Anyway, I get challenged a lot and people may or may not agree with my take on divination. My grandmother read the Spanish cards. So she did them. Are the Spanish cards, which are really like playing cards, different than what the tarot is, or is it the same? To me, it's all the same. I don't differentiate. I tend to like the tarot because I like the structure and the concept of the Fool's Journey in there, which we will touch on. And I love that. Hi, Fred. Oh, we have so many awesome people here today. So to me, it doesn't matter. One deck is as good as the other if it speaks to you. So I wanted to throw that out. So if anybody comes to you and challenges you, I'm hoping that I give you some information on how to work with that. And I think okay, I'm gonna hold this here. We have two questions that were in the tarot forum that I want to discuss. Okay, so let's get here. Boy, my computer's acting a little wonky here today. So let me look at the questions that were given. Okay, so Chris Lopez, by the way, I'm going into the divination forum, writes, I would love to see how people incorporate other forms of divination into their tarot readings. An example of that would be runes, oracles, pendulums, etc. So I'm going to throw that out there. So even if we don't have enough time for today's show, I know we're going to run a little bit late. Yeah, we already are. I wanted to bring that out. And the other question that was brought up here from Shireen. So, Shireen, this is an excellent question. I would like to know, when doing a past life reading, how do you figure what a person was in a past life through the interpretation of the cards? For instance, if someone was a Viking in a past life, what cards would describe them as a Viking in their former life? Okay, actually, Maria, if you have a chance, and I know you're always working, you might want to talk about that. Maria Bird does past life regression. Alrighty, it is not my gig. That is not something that I do. But Shireen, you make a good point. And sometimes when I look at the cards, I'll allude to something in a past life, depending on what the card is doing. So if there's a lot of swords, I already think of a person who is familiar with battle, who fights with a sword, who's a warrior. So right off the bat, the suit itself would allude to that. I'm just talking from my thoughts. I'm not going to say that that's the one thing, but that's what I kind of look at. So if that were the case, to me, the first thing I would think of is those swords and what is happening. Are there a lot of battles? Is there a heroic thing going on here? Or again, your interpretation of that. So that's my take on that. Maria, if you get a chance, you should reach out to Shireen if you can. That's the mentorship thing. The two of you can talk and discuss that. Maria is a motivational speaker. She does past life regression and hypnotism and lots and lots and lots. And if you want to reach her, you could reach her in this forum. So her name is Maria Bird. And if you're looking for something like that, please go to her directly. That's the purpose of this forum, is to get people to get together and discuss different things. So, and I could see that Mary was really getting into that too. So it's really great. Sometimes Mary writes, sometimes when I read the cards, I get images of a person's past life. Yes, good point there. But I have not gone deeper into it. Reflections of another time, bits and pieces. So that makes a lot of sense to me. Okay, I will get glimpses of things that I think may have happened in the past. And in fact, it is my belief that one of my past lives was very, very near. Or I should say it wasn't. I think it was the 1920s. My thought. You know what I mean? Whether I'm right or wrong, it doesn't matter. It's my belief system, and I kind of work with that. And why? It's my affections for certain styles of clothing, jewelry, the music of its time. I seem to be quite fascinated with that time period. And in fact, my band, I don't know if you could see that, Tommy designed that to look very Art Deco. I have a strong love for anything Art Deco and of that time. So I wanted to make sure, or I should say, Tommy wanted to make sure that he honored that. And so engagement / wedding, whatever you want to call that ring. Anyway, whatever it is, it's a love ring. So the music, the dancing, everything about that time period really resonates with me. So I kind of think that that's a past life thing, even though it was really quite recent. Yep, that's exactly what I was saying, Maria. That's fantastic. So anybody interested, please speak to Maria on that. So I want to wish everybody a wonderful, wonderful holiday. We know that Thanksgiving isn't the Thanksgiving we were all taught about. But I'm thankful for all of you. You keep me inspired. Your messages and emails and all of that inspire me. So I am thankful for all of you for this forum. It means an awful lot to me. I am thankful for my children. I am thankful for my family. I'm thankful for my wonderful man. I'm thankful for my life. And there's a lot of things that are out there. And I want you all, thanks, Maria. It means a lot to me. I have family here. I have chosen family. I have amazing children, and the young men that I've literally adopted that are mine. You know what I mean? So I have many kids. My daughter that, well, not by birth, she is mine. And what Italian or Puerto Rican doesn't do that, right? We all adopt everybody. So we should do a group past life regression at the store. That's a good idea, Maria. Thank you for that. I will touch on that. I'm thankful for music. I'm thankful for this store. I'm thankful for my beautiful little cottage that we live in, which is so teeny weeny. It's a tiny little cottage I call the shoebox, okay? But it's all those things that mean an awful lot to me. And seeing the feedback from this show has really been quite amazing. And I definitely want to take it, yes, Mary. I want to take it to the next level and watch in the future where, there'll be stuff online with my website and stuff. I really want to take things to another level. But once I get those things in place, I'll start talking about it. But the show has been doing really wonderful, and I'm thankful for all of that. So many blessings, many, many, many blessings. I hope that your Thanksgiving, Turkey Day, Tofurkey Day, Vegetarian Day is all fantastic for all of you. Be careful when you're traveling. There's a lot of people drinking. I know, here goes the Mama Bee in me again, and everybody's going to make fun of me, but I care. So be well, everybody. Happy, happy, happy Thanksgiving. May all of you have a wonderful time and be happy. And yeah, let's do a little give back too for Thanksgiving. Alrighty. So do what you can to give back to the universe and watch what happens. And by the way, thank you for all of the new members that are here, because I think, let me see if I get this here. We are at, in the Divination Forum, I know we are way over 1,000. 1,010 members in a private group. So I just want you to think about that, because this is not an open group. We have 1,010 members in a private group, which means they are looking for us. So that says a lot. So keep that in mind. And again, if you're not a part of this, please join our Breed's Closet Tarot and Divination Forum. We discuss an awful lot of these subjects in the forum itself. And if you are a reader or new to the forum, please post about what it is that you do. I have, a pinned post where you can put your business and what you do there. So it's really important if you do that. And feel free to share this with anybody who might be interested in this forum, right? It's been pretty much drama-free. I'm really happy with the way things are going, and I love the feedback from everyone else. So happy Turkey Day, everybody. You all pretty much rock. I'll be doing a replay on this. I'll probably do the watch party. But again, post any of your questions and the things that you would like to do, and I will see you next Monday. Alrighty, everybody. I'm giving waves to everybody. I wish I could say hi to everybody individually and give everybody a big hug. So, ciao, everybody. Bye-bye.